For those who are not paying attention, there is a migrant crisis going on in the US. And even though some platforms are trying to make it seem like we're doing a good thing, we're helping these people out, it is not so much of a good thing to us American citizens. Side note, if you hear me sounding a little bit congested in this video, I am getting over a cold that I had the past couple of days, so my bad if I sound a little bit congested. But I really want to hop on here and talk about this whole migrant situation because it is getting out of hand. A year ago, it was kind of sustainable or whatever, but now it's just like, it's the past few months it's gotten worse. For those who don't know, I live in New York, and particularly I live in Staten Island. It's pronounced Staten Island, but we Islander citizens pronounce it Staten Island. It's just an accent that we have. And yeah, so I live in New York, and a lot of the migrants, like over 110,000, has came to New York. They've been going to other places like Chicago and I think LA in Massachusetts. I don't know any other place so far, but I know they've been going to other places, but a lot of them definitely have been coming to New York. And even though it's gotten worse, I haven't been seeing too much of a crisis in Staten Island versus the other boroughs that are getting hit really bad. And that is for a reason. And I think a lot of people throughout the US should follow suit on at least what we're doing. To explain where I'm going with this, I'm going to talk a little bit about where I'm from, just briefly. So, Staten Island has always been known as the forgotten borough compared to the other boroughs. Like, everybody has heard of Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, Manhattan, but you don't really hear about Staten Island. We're known as the forgotten borough, and even though the other boroughs make fun of that, we are actually okay with it. Like, we'd rather remain to be the forgotten borough. Like, this place was always meant, like, growing up, I was always told, even though there's some drama stuff that goes on out here, I've been told if you want to go crazy and all that, take that out in the city. Go to Manhattan, have a ball. But when you come back, this is a place where you rest your head, live your life, stuff like that. It's mainly supposed to be a peaceful borough. And there's some celebrities that are from here. Like, this place is mostly known because of the Wu-Tang, Shaolin, if you guys have listened to the Wu-Tang and stuff like that. But other than that, it is a forgotten borough. And I believe it's also forgotten because it is, for those who do know, this place is known for being pretty mobbish. And I can't believe I'm going to talk about this in this video. But growing up, I've seen people in the mob out here. I mean, like, back then, me and my family, we used to go trick-or-treating in their neighborhoods and stuff like that. And they are very generous. And there were people in my family that were cool with the mob. Like, my grandfather, back in the day, he was really cool with them to the point where they asked him if he wanted to, like, join them. But he was just like, no, but they remain cool. So, growing up, well, just when I was little, I've seen that a lot. Like, they stand out with their button shirts and their pants and stuff like that. But I haven't seen it too much lately because the old OGs, they all passed away, and the new ones, they move in the streets pretty sloppy. But besides all that, I think that's another reason why this borough rather remains to be silent, because there is a lot of that out here. As far as I know, when it comes to this migrant situation, Staten Island is also known for being patriot. We're a Republican borough. The other boroughs vote blue. This borough votes red. So when this migrant situation started happening, Staten Islanders were not for it at all. Like, they've been protesting nonstop to the point where Eric Adams be having his drones flying out here just to like spy on the residents that live out here and stuff like that. And they've been, starting an uproar compared to the other boroughs that are not really like, I've seen some rallies, I've seen some protests, but it's not like much of an uproar like it is out here. And as far as I know, today, what's today's date? As far as I know, September 26th, there was a court case that's been going on because of the academy that the city wanted to use as a migrant shelter, and the residents, whoever sued. And as far as I know, the judge today has announced that they're going to shut that place down as a shelter. And the city, they're not happy about it. They want to appeal it. But as far as I know, Staten Island was just like, no, get the migrants out of here. And it's not like we're being mean. It's not like this borough is being racist, because they're pinning Staten Island to be a racist borough. And I'm going to save that conversation for another time. But this right here, this situation right here has nothing to do with racism. A lot of people out here are from immigrant families, but they came out here legally. Like, they didn't come out here illegal. And a lot of these migrants that they're sending out, majority of them are men, and not just any regular guy. They're like criminals. And it's so crazy to me how the city is allowing all of this to happen. I'm like, it's a known factor that they're coming out here with drugs and guns and all that stuff. Like, they're strapped. They're coming here strapped, and for some reason, Eric Adams and the rest of them, they're turning a blind eye to this whole situation. And they're not reporting too much of this, but there's been reports of them already getting arrested several times and getting let out the next day. They're fighting with the people. They're fighting with the cops. There's been reports of them sexually assaulting the employees that work in these shelters to help them out. There was this one shelter that had to get shut down because this guy had sexually assaulted one of the employees. And I don't know about the rest of them. I don't know if they're afraid to speak up or they're getting threatened not to speak up. But it's not. These workers that work in these shelters, if I was them, I don't know. I wouldn't even be working there. And this is one story that I've heard where this lady out here has a friend who works at one of the hotels in the city, and her friend has stories of food being thrown at her and stuff like that. Like, these migrants that are coming out here, even though there may be a few that are really seeking asylum, a lot of them are coming out here for just handouts and a good time. Like, that's what it seems like. And it's ridiculous. And the fact that they try to drop some of them off in Midland Beach on Staten Island, where they arrested 10 of the residents that live out here. They try to drop them off in that area, in Father Capodanno Ave. And I don't know if they know, but I did say there still is, the mob out here. They may be in the shadows, but they're still out here. And I'm like, why would they drop them off there? And I was reading through some of the community comments on Facebook, and these people that were at the rallies, they were saying that if you wasn't there, you don't know what actually happened. Like, it was a peaceful protest at first, and when these guys were getting off the bus, they were throwing up, gang signs and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. That's what I've seen from what these people at the protest were saying on Facebook. But I'm like, oh my gosh, because there's a school not too far from there. There's families that live in that area. These guys are coming through with drugs and guns, like weapons, and they're known for sexually assaulting women and stuff like that. And the fact that these politicians are trying to paint the picture on TV and make it seem like these people are like out here seeking asylum and they want to work and all that stuff, it's just ridiculous. Less than 2%, as far as I know, September 14th, less than 2% have applied for work permits. Majority of them don't even want to work. So I don't know why they're saying that they want to work. Majority of them don't. And they're just here for a good time and free handouts. Like, it's ridiculous at this point. And, it's no surprise. And there's a lot of talks going around about this. But I don't know. I think this is all. There's so many. There's so many conspiracies around this of why they're doing what they're doing. Of course, they want the votes from these migrants, because a lot of people are starting to be more on Trump's side, and they want these votes. Also, too, I know they're building a lot of stuff around here. Like Eric Adams, he wants to create 100,000 more housings throughout the 5 boroughs. He offered Staten Island $400 million to provide more housings and jobs on the North Shore of Staten Island. Meanwhile, we're all about to be more in debt because of our tax dollars going to this situation. And he's making New York City agencies have 15% in total budget cuts. I think 5% starting October, another 5% in I think January, and then I think the last 5% in April. He's going to like run us dry. Meanwhile, he's offering the North Shore $400 million. Like, where's all this money coming from? And I already know that he's going to have a lot of these migrants build these places, but I don't know how it's going to work because a lot of them don't even want to work, and they don't understand. And this is another thing, they don't understand. I remember over a year ago, I'm making an example, I'm gonna bring it back. I remember over a year ago, I was at the gym and there was this person that just started working there. He was a janitor, and he's from one of the Spanish speaker countries. And I remember going into the bathroom and I had my headphones in, and this other lady, she was behind me. And I'm in the changing room, changing whatever. And as soon as I get out, I see that some of the workers, well, one of the workers, she was in the locker room. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, did you see what just happened?" And I was like, "No, I have my headphones in." Blasting music mad loud. But turns out the janitor, he was following this girl around the gym, and just he wanted her number and stuff like that, and she was just like, no. So as soon as she came into the locker room, he went in trying to like get some from her. So the one of the workers, the female workers, she went in there, pulled him out, and was just like, "What the heck is wrong with you?" And he didn't understand what was the big deal. He didn't understand why it was so wrong for him to walk into the girls' locker room just to get what he wanted to get. And they immediately fired him on the spot. And they have that mindset. They have that mindset that, and they just don't understand. And there's more of him out here. Now, he was already legalized. These ones that are coming out here, they're not legalized, and most of them are coming out here with that mindset. And I was watching this other video where this guy who used to work at the hotels, he was talking about how bad it's gotten, how drunk they've all been getting, kids getting drunk, hookups, everything, to the point where every week they're delivering like 2 to 3 babies. And so at the end of the video, he was saying, like, when all the money runs out and stuff like that, and they find out that, like, they are no longer able to be provided for, they're not going to understand why. And I think it's going to be an uproar. and they don't have they don't ha- they just don't understand, and they just think that this is going to be a forever situation. And it's so weird. It's so weird how all this is going on, and how Adams and them are just turning a blind eye. For what reason? I have like several reasons, but it would be too much of a video if I try to explain all my reasons of what I think is going on. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I said, Staten Island, they are not for that whatsoever. And the reason why we've been able to have 2%, and I believe less now, because of that situation with the courts and the ruling saying they can't be here. The reason why is because, like, this is more a patriot borough and the mob borough. And yeah, I don't know. Like, for him to try to drop them off here is like, they really found the right ones, because Staten Island people do not play at all when it comes to that. Like, they're really with the shits. Like, for them to drop those migrants off in those areas, I'm like, crazy. Now, depending on where you live, like for me, lately I've been thinking 10 steps ahead of where all this could go. And I've been thinking about how they're bringing drugs out here. And I know some of the gangs in the hood, they might have an exchange going on. Um, the mob out here, like, since the cops didn't really help out the residents that lived out here and instead arrested them, I've been saying for months now. I've been saying for months now. I feel like when the people start seeing that the cops are not going to be on their side, these residents are going to start going to other options for help. And I can see, the mob gaining more power from this, to where they're gonna rise up like the phoenix, like how they were back in the day. um I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about other situations, and I'm thinking about my safety. But so far, it hasn't been that bad, just because the people out here have been standing up to what's going on, and the city is not going to they are not going to give up this fight. The fact that he's sending drones out here, the fact that they want to appeal this court situation, all this stuff, offering $400 million, is just like, they're really going for it. And it's too full out here now to have all these migrants. And one of them's mentioned about sending them to other places. I don't know where. They might sneak them into your state, wherever you live. And I think, even though we all have our own things going on top of this situation, even though we have more things going on with our lives, and we're trying to do the best that we can and trying to survive and all that stuff, you should really keep your eyes and ears open, just in case if this hits your neighborhood. Because these migrants that are coming out here, not all of them are family with kids. Most of them are, men that are criminals and all that stuff. And another thing too, another group of people that have been coming out here are Chinese spies. Like, that's another thing. There's some spies coming out here pretending to be the migrants and all that. There's a lot of shit going on, and it's like going underneath the rug unseen, and who knows what's going to happen in the next few months. um so yeah, like, keep your eyes and ears open. Between the whole Maui situation, Ukraine, the Chinese coming up here, buying up everything just so rapidly, and this whole migrant situation, I can't help but to think of what's the main root to all of this. What are they really, really about to do? And this will be too much of a video for me to like point out all my theories, but definitely like I said, keep your eyes and ears open to what's going on. um don't be fooled by some of these platforms trying to be like, oh, we're just being nice, we're helping, blah 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 blah, don't be at this, don't be at that. Like, no, stand your ground, protect your home, protect your kids, protect your family. like for real, for real, because I don't like where this is going. This doesn't look righteous at all.